Hey everyone, this is Doc, and this is my review of the first two episodes of WandaVision. So last night I got to watch the first two episodes of WandaVision, just like many of you probably, and I loved it. It was exactly what I was expecting. If you are familiar with the comics, with the Vision comics in particular, the ones from a few years back, they told a storyline a little bit different from Vision's perspective, but basically reimagining Vision as a 1950s sitcom character in the model nuclear family. And so they've taken that storyline and updated it with Scarlet Witch as the central character, Vision as her husband, and adjusted it for the realities of the MCU and the fact that Vision was killed, spoiler alert, in Infinity War. So going in, I had an expectation of what we were going to get based on the comics, and that's almost exactly what we have so far. And so I just want to go over a few of the things that stood out to me, what I really enjoyed about it, a couple of critiques, and maybe a few ideas of where this may be going next. So first off, most obviously, these are paying tribute to the classic sitcoms of the 50s and 60s. And that's obvious right off the bat with the set, which is almost identical to the Dick Van Dyke Show. And so many of the sitcom tropes, especially those early sitcoms, whether it's I Love Lucy, Leave It to Beaver, those types of shows. And you have Wanda in the classic 50s sitcom wife role. And they're just playing with all of those tropes and making fun of the misogyny of the era, and I'm here for it. I thought it was fantastic. I thought both the leads were great in those roles. Kathryn Hahn as the neighbor is brilliant, and I think what they've really captured perfectly is the idea of the sitcom and the way it's a heightened look at reality and a very specific tone and comedic style where everyone in these sitcoms is just pretending that these absurd, outlandish things that are happening, that are being said, aren't happening, that this is normal behavior, or this is mildly aggravating behavior, when some of the things that you see in these sitcoms would be grounds for immediate divorce, being sent to jail, all kinds of outlandish acts happen, even in the old I Love Lucy sitcoms, and moving forward. But I think this trope of the misunderstanding that they play upon so brilliantly, where Wanda and Vision aren't sure what the heart means on the calendar, and they both kind of cross signals, and so you have this hilarious conflict where Vision brings home his boss, and the awkwardness that ensues that just gets ratcheted up because it's so obvious that there's something wrong. And so what I really love about it is they take these absurd scenarios and they try to play them straight just like they do in the sitcoms, but because they've taken it to such extremes, it's really focusing you in on just how absurd all sitcoms are in the way that they just allow these, like I said earlier, outlandish things to happen without anything more than a wry reaction. And so I think that satire is not only saying a lot about television, but our society. So I love it. I think there's a lot of depth to it, and I think you're going to get more and more out of it upon rewatch. So fantastic. Really, the only complaint I have is that this is exactly what I thought it would be, and I wasn't surprised by anything. And I expect Marvel to surprise me and to go in directions I'm not expecting. And maybe if you hadn't read the comic, or you weren't kind of dialed into what the trailer was showing you, maybe this was a surprise. And maybe, I mean, it's obviously a big departure from normal MCU fare. And rather than it being an action movie or show, it's so far very much a sitcom and a comedy. So it is a departure, but for me as a viewer, it was exactly what I was expecting. And so I'm hoping that in the next few episodes, it's going to start to go in even weirder direction. But that's really only a minor complaint. Overall, I'm really loving it. Like I mentioned, Kathryn Hahn, everything that Kathryn Hahn has ever been in is fantastic, and this is no exception. She's brilliant, and I hope that she gets more to do as the show continues. So with that said, looking forward, what do I predict? Obviously, not all is as it seems. We're meant to realize that something's going wrong with Wanda, and the biggest question is she trapped someplace against her will? Or, and this is what I'm expecting, is she trapped herself in this kind of reality, and it's going to be her friends that are trying to rescue her. I expect more of the latter. I know that they're trying to make it seem like it's going in a direction where maybe she's kidnapped by Hydra, or something like that. A nefarious organization has her kidnapped. I expect that this is a prison of her own making, but we'll see. So I'm looking forward to next week's episode, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments what you think about it so far, what your predictions are, etc., etc. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.